All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to get started. Happy Thursday. I see that we have all of the committee members have signed in, and have we done a mic check on Joe and Daryl yet?
We did Daryl. Joe?
Present.
Great. Thank you. All right, so I am Jenny McCullum. I am the chair of this meeting and the Chief Procurement Officer for JEA. I'd like to call the April 23rd, 2020 awards meeting to order. We do have a quorum. So we've got Sean Eads, we've got Daryl Calhoun, we've got Joe Arfano, we've got John McCarthy, and then we have Gabor sitting in for Karen Anders. OGC is represented by Lasikia Hodges, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Is Lori on?
I don't see Lori.
When Lori jumps on, we will make a note of that. We've got a few things to read through before we get started with the meeting, so we'll give her some time to do that. So bear with me, I'm going to read a few things here. In an effort to slow the spread of COVID-19 virus and to encourage social distancing, Governor DeSantis issued an executive order 20-69 allowing local governments to hold public meetings using communications media technology rather than in a physical location. In keeping with the executive order, the JEA Awards Committee meeting is being held via WebEx teleconference, which allows interested persons to view and participate in the meeting remotely. Individuals who are having technical difficulties accessing the meeting or during the meeting should contact Jason Bear at 665-8750 for assistance. In the event multiple people have technical difficulties that preclude them from attending or accessing the meeting will be recessed or postponed until the technical issues can be remedied. This meeting is being recorded and minutes are being taken. So therefore, any individuals who speak during the meeting should do so clearly and slowly to ensure that they are heard and understood for recording purposes and by other participants and attendees. Participants shall, regardless of how they are accessing the meeting, keep their microphones on mute at all times when not speaking. The meeting host, which is Sean Eads, will have the capability to mute any microphone that is transmitting sound or causing feedback or that is otherwise disruptive to the meeting. Each person must wait to be recognized by the meeting host before speaking. If people attempt to speak out of turn or talk over each other, they will be removed from the meeting by the meeting host. Members of the public must state their name each time they make a comment, as well as anyone speaking when questions are asked during the committee meeting itself. All right, so for all awards committee meetings, the public comment portion occurs at the beginning of the meeting. All public comments should pertain only to the items on the agenda and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. The agenda and associated materials can be accessed through JEA's website at jea.com under Procurement, and it's under our awards meeting agendas and minutes. Members of the public may submit their comments by email in advance of the meeting or may log in or dial into the meeting to speak during public comment portion of the meeting. Individuals who are unable to access the meeting or who wish to submit comments in advance may do so by submitting their comments via email to Jason Bear, which is BEHRJV @jea.com. Public comments submitted by email must be received no later than 10:10 a.m. on the date of the meeting. Public comments submitted by email will be read into the record during the public meeting portion, and individuals attending the call will be given an opportunity to comment one at a time in an orderly fashion upon recognition by the meeting host. All public comments will be given equal consideration regardless of the manner in which they were submitted. When the meeting has concluded, the recorded version may be accessed at the same link I had just stated, which is on our website, JEA.com, under Procurement, and there's a section called Awards, Meetings, Agendas, and Minutes. All right, so Jason, before we get started, did we receive any public comment prior to the meeting?
Hey, Jenny, real quick, do you want me to go through a brief how to use the tools?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Sean.
Good. That's okay. And it allows Lori to finish her logging in.
Great.
For those that are new to WebEx, the way our public comments will work, obviously we will read any that were sent in via email. The second phase of public comments will be for anyone using the WebEx tools. That will be done by raising your hand. That actually can be done through the participants button. So if you move your mouse, you'll see a series of buttons, as you can see that I'm sharing, come across the bottom of your screen. There's one that looks like a person. You click on that, you will see a list of names. You will see your name at the top, and there should be a hand icon that you can click on, and that's how we will run the meeting if you're in the WebEx tool. If you're not able to see that hand icon, you can always chat us. And that, again, if you move around, there is a button that looks like a somewhat of a comments bubble. You click on that, and you can type, I would like to comment. Please remember that this is a recorded meeting, and all of those chats will be seen. Once we get through that part, we will ask for anyone that dialed into the call directly through a phone. And it looks as if we have 3 people that have done that. When we reach that point, if you have public comment, I will ask you to unmute yourself. And on the phone, that can be done by pressing *6, and it will unmute you. And then you can press *6 to mute yourself again. As we go through the meeting, if you didn't know where the mute button is, if you move your mouse, there is a microphone button that is red for nearly all of you, meaning you are on mute, and you can click that and unmute it. And obviously, if you're on the phone, again, *6. I do have the ability to mute people as the moderator of the meeting, and we'll only do that to help make the meeting go smoothly. That's all, Jenny.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Jason, do we have any public comment that has been submitted prior to the meeting?
This is Jason Bear. There is no public comment at this time.
Okay, great. We have about 1 more minute to allow for anything to come in via email. But while we're waiting for that to happen, I will open it up to anyone that has dialed in or called in from the public that would like to make a comment. As Sean said, he will unmute everyone. If you don't have a public comment, please mute yourself back so that we don't have a lot of interference on the phone.
So at this time, you can raise your hand through the WebEx tool or provide a chat saying you'd wish. Jenny, we have no one raising their hand or providing a chat. Lastly, if you dial into the phone, if you would hit *6 to unmute yourself at this time, if you would like to provide comment. No one has, Jenny, so no public comments.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sean. And you can tell I was really listening to you when you were explaining that. Jason, it is now 10:10. Is there anything else that has come in via email?
This is Jason Bear. There are no public comments.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jason. All right, so we'll just go ahead and get started. We've got just quite a few different, I think there's only about 5 awards today, so hopefully this will be a quick meeting. We'll go through like we did last time, where we look at each of the individual items and we'll vote on each of the individual items before we move to the next one. And we will need, before we do that, one of the committee members to make a motion to approve that item, and then we'll need a second, and then I will go through a roll call of every committee member to have them vote individually. All right. So we'll look at award or item number 1, which was our meeting minutes. We've got 2 different sets of meeting minutes in item 1. The approval from last week's meeting that we deferred until this week, which was our April 9th. And then we also have last week's our meeting minutes, which was for April 16th. Do we have any questions on that new format? Any comments before we ask for a motion? Okay. Seeing none. John McCarthy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was going to raise my hand. I couldn't tell if it was captured in the minutes, but we had a discussion on one of the awards last time, the GSA award in context to whether or not it was CCNA or not. I just wanted to make sure we had that. If that has been resolved, that is in the minutes somewhere.
Okay. Actually, OGC signed off on that award yesterday, so we can update the meeting minutes to show that they have given the approval for that. Would you like to make a motion? Yes.
The chair. Jenny?
Lazikia?
Yeah, Lazikia. Hi, just so to answer John's question, so John, if you look at the motion that's presented, which item was that, Jenny? If Jason can turn to the
award 4, it's up there on the screen right there.
Okay, so you see,
4.
John, how it says, so to answer your question, it was reflected in the minutes because it says that this award there was a motion subject to the Office of General Counsel confirming the compliance with 287.055. So to answer your question, it was captured. There's no need for us to update the motion to state that I signed off on it because that actually didn't occur at the meeting. That occurred after the meeting. And the only point of the minutes is to reflect what happened at the meeting. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Yep. But to answer your question, John, yes, OGC has signed off on that award.
So just
can
just a quick follow-on question. So we're not going to document anywhere that OGC, this says it's subject to OGC confirming compliance. So if we vote on this today, that just assumes that OGC made that confirmation?
Right. So,
Plus,
so
we get comments right now.
Right. So through the chair, I mean, just to be clear, if you recall the discussion last week and the minutes, we're only trying to capture what happened on that day. And on that day, there was no sign off from OGC. So it wouldn't be accurate to state that in the minutes, but you could certainly add a sentence to say that it was discussed, but it's not required. And we're just not able to state in the minutes that there was a sign off because at that point in time during the meeting, there was not a sign off. So John, if you'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes to just add a sentence that says there was a discussion, OGC had some questions, you can certainly add that to the minutes.
Or Lazikia, would it be more appropriate to add to the meeting minutes today during our discussion of approving these minutes?
Exactly. You're exactly right because we're into the meeting today and the whole purpose of the minutes are to reflect what occurred at the meeting And so that would absolutely be appropriate.
So John,
yeah,
if you would like to,
I think that would be my preference as well, so we can vote on minutes that we can see and approve these minutes as written, and then just do that subsequently. Sounds good to me.
okay, great. And don't forget, everyone, to please state your name before you speak. Can I get a motion? John, would you like to make a motion to?
Yes, this is John McCarthy. Move a motion to approve the minutes from last week's meeting.
With the discussion. Okay, thanks, Joe. We'll add a note in there, John, per your request. So the motion, just to clarify, would be to approve the meeting minutes from the April 9th and April 16th. And make a note that OGC has signed off on award item number 4 from the April 16th meeting. So can I get a second on that motion?
Darrell Callahan, second.
Okay, thank you. I just want to be clear what our motion is. So we had a motion from John McCarthy. Do you agree with the motion as stated?
Yes.
Okay, and then we had a second. I heard Darrell Calhoun second it. And we're going to go through a roll call of the committee members for their sign off. Sean Eads, do you approve?
This is Sean Eads. I approve.
Okay, Darrell Calhoun.
Darrell Callahan, approve.
Joe Arfano.
Approve.
John McCarthy.
Approve.
And Gabor, can you hear us okay now?
Yes, approve.
Okay. Okay. Will you please state your name so that it's on the record?
Oh, you're talking to me? Gabor,
Yeah.
approve.
Thanks, Gabor. So Gabor's sitting in for Karen Anders, as stated. All right, let's go to award number 2. This is an emergency award. These are for our Net Motion software licenses and support for FY20. So we've got about 825 NetMotion software licenses that we need to purchase in a 1-year support required to support JEA for remote VPN access for our laptops and tablets. The additional licenses will allow JEA to further expand the existing remote access platform, providing the means to push security patches and software updates in addition to more closely emulate a normal work experience for JEA employee since we have moved to remote working. Presidio Network Solutions, LLC is the lowest bidder in the amount of $117,921.18. And we actually pushed this through as an ITN onto the street, and we've received really good competition. We received 6 responses, and we evaluated on price only. However, we are deeming this an emergency due to the shortened time frame that was required for this bid to be on the street. And our operational procedures state 7 days. We were only able to keep it out for 2 days due to the urgency of needing to expand the remote workforce capabilities due to COVID-19. So just to break down the award amount, the licenses themselves will cost a little over $91,000, and the year's support is about $26,000. And we should note the unit costs are the same as previously purchased in the past. And if we do any more purchases for these licenses, our enterprise is now over 1,000 licenses, so future license costs should decrease moving forward as we go to that next tier. All right, so I will open it up for comment or questions to the committee.
There are no hands raised, Jenny. So this is Sean
Okay.
Eads. I'd like to move to approve award number 2.
Joe Arfano, second.
Okay, great. I will do a roll call through the committee members. Sean Eads,
Approved?
Daryl Calhoun,
Daryl Calhoun, approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
John McCarthy,
Approved.
and Gabor.
Approved.
Thank you, Gabor. All right, let's move to award item number 3. This is a contract amendment, so an increase to our current contract costs. So what this means is that the services are not changing. We're just increasing the contract amount. These are for electrical, general contracting services. The scope of work is for the contractor to provide personnel, equipment, and materials to complete electrical repairs, electrical new equipment construction up to a maximum of $75,000 per project per our statute, and electrical support, providing trades and equipment to provide supplement support during outages. So there's 2 methods that we use for this contract with the 3 different vendors. If there is a project, we can do a lump sum bid between the contractors to go low bid. And then we also have time and materials on a task authorization method for just repairs that we need called out and done quickly. So the work is assigned, and it covers all of JEA's 5 county service territories. So the 3 different vendors that we have on contract that was originally bid and approved by the awards committee in March of 19 are Premier Communications Group, Inc., and their award amount would be increased by $792,500. The second recommended awardee was Cogburn Bros, Inc., in the amount of $703,246.67. And Williams Industrial Services is the third recommended awardee, and their award amount would increase by $792,500. So the total change order amount would be $2,238,246.67, which brings our new not to exceed amount for the contract to $5,055,100. This originally was bid as a 5-year contract, and we are still within the 5-year term. And I will note that the time and material rates are fixed for the first 3 years of the contract and subject to CPI increases for year 4 and 5. We also had a contract increase approved within procurement, a 10% increase to Cogburn to continue work on an existing project when they ran out of funds so that they could complete that project, which is included in the new not to exceed amount. And then there's just a note that talks about the 2 reasons this award is being returned to the awards committee. So one of the things was there was some unbalanced use of the contract, and we're adjusting that. You can see with Cogburn, they're getting a little less of the award amount for the increase to balance that out. And then also, when we awarded this originally, we approved it to known budgets. As such, the amount of the award needs to be continually adjusted and will be returned to the awards committee during the performance of the contract. This award, like many other continuing services contracts awards, will be continued to be brought forth between or to the committee to add contract cap, even though JEA has already gone through a rigorous funding approval process on an annual basis. This is just to show transparency of what projects we're going to be doing. And historically, JEA used to award the contracts based on estimates for the entire 5-year term, which made it less common to come back to the committee, but we have started changing that to come back every time we need to increase and explain why. So I will open it up to the committee for any questions or comments.
Daryl Calhoun has a comment.
Yeah, just for clarity, the SCM, is that an acronym for some type of category manager? Item number 1 there, where it says the SCM has communicated to the business units the unbalance and they will manage and monitor.
It's probably the project manager of the contract, not a category manager.
This is Rodney Lovgren. SCM is an acronym for supply chain management.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just asking about the control. I mean, not that it's out of whack too badly if you look at the award difference to Cogburn, but just going forward, curious what type of controls we may have in place that improve the imbalance in the future.
This is Rodney Lovgren again. The requisitions get processed through procurement. Typically, they've been going to one of several buyers. We communicated out to the business units that they will need to initially request to supply chain management first the type of work that they're going to do, so we can make a determination of how it should be processed, if it should be under this contract or should be bid out independently. And also, we are going to have the requisitions routed through the senior buyer, even if they're under the senior buyer's threshold, just to review them and make sure that they're using the correct context when they're processing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next is John McCarthy.
Yeah, this is John. My question is if someone could just talk to, so we made an initial 3-year award, and for an initial amount, which is less and appears to be significantly less than the whole 3-year amounts will be. I think what I'd like somebody to just comment on, did the bidders know how much spend would be coming through these contracts? Because typically it implies that they might get better rates, the larger the spend is. I mean, how do they know that? And are we missing out at all by doing it this way on better pricing from the companies?
So the GC contracts, and we have several different, this is Rodney Lovgren again. We have several different groups of GC contracts. There's mechanical work, there's electrical work, there's wastewater treatment plant work. We provide an estimate during the bid process, and then they present their rates based on that. You are correct in saying, yeah, there's some potential that folks would, if the volume doubled, maybe decrease their rates a little bit. But with these GC contracts, our drive is to try to have them bid competitively between the 3 of them on a lump sum basis. So the T&M portion of the work should be the lesser amount. And most of these companies, we ask them to, or all 3 of these companies, we ask them to fix their rate on the T&M portion for the first 3 years of the contract. And so when we compare that to their current T&M rates and other things that they've done during their other GC contracts, their rates are pretty consistent across the board. So there's not money on the table, so to speak. And in other GC contracts historically, where we just forecast on spend, we may throw a $5 million award amount out there to these companies saying, yeah, over the 5 years, we might spend $1 million a year. But that doesn't have that much of an impact on their T&M rates since they're based on the current economics and how they're bidding at the time. So doing this the way we're doing it today, we come back for additional funding. We can go back to the business units or the companies and ask them about their rates. But even before we started this process, which is only a year ago, a year and a half ago maybe, their rates were already consistent with what's out there in the market.
Thanks, Rodney. That's helpful. And I think you said also, though, that we do share the budgetary amounts that might be potential in the beginning when we went out.
This is Rodney Lovegren. Correct. We explained to them that the numbers that we have today are the current forecast, but we expect it to be larger. And most of those companies that do work for us, they understand that we typically have much larger contracts in place if we went off a historical spend. So they probably estimated in their minds that some of this was coming.
And I'll just note, John, this is a 5-year award that we awarded, not a 3-year, but the term that what Rodney was saying, the T&M rates are fixed for the first 3 years of the 5.
This is Sean Eads. I don't know if this is possible, and I obviously would defer to Rodney and the team, but, you know, to piggyback on what John just said, you know, one concept would be, could we start working into our contracts discount structures as the volume and the spend goes up? So across the 5-year, you know, if you guys did the analysis and said, hey, if it gets above, or if we grow it more than 25%, we get an additional 3% off on the rate. Being able to start putting those things into the contract. So obviously they get a good sense from the initial thing, but if we grow and just end up doing a lot more work with them, we get a benefit on the backside. Just an idea.
Sean, this is Lisa Pleasance. We do have that in some of our contracts, for instance, our security contract, but we can look into doing that for more, so thank you.
Okay, great. Do we have any other comments or questions on award number 3?
None at this time.
Okay, great. Can I get a motion to approve award number 3?
This is John McCarthy. I make a motion to approve award item 3.
Darrell Callahan, second.
Great. I'll go through and ask all the committee members to approve the motion. Sean Eads.
I approve.
Darrell Calhoun.
Approved.
John McCarthy.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Gabor.
I approve.
Thank you. All right, let's go to award item number 4. This was an OEM, or is an OEM award for Northside Generating Station Unit 3 Circulating Pump C. So North NGS has, on Unit 3, has 4 circulating water pumps, and Pump C has severe wear of the impeller, bearings and shaft, and has had difficulty meeting flow requirements at low tide when the suction head is low. So our OEM is Xylem Water Solutions, and the recommended award amount is $880,000. This is a pretty long lead time. We're expecting it to be delivered April of 2021. Project completion, is that, Rodney, is that a project completion of 2021 or the delivery of the pumps? Is Rodney on? We might have lost him. Lisa, do you know?
Yeah, Rodney, you look like you're off mute, but we can't hear you.
It's Rodney Lovegren on the phone.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Okay, Rodney, is that an estimated delivery for the pump or project completion? of April 2021. You're going to have to unmute now from your computer.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the date that I populated into there is based off of the lead time of the pump that's on the quotation. So that would be the delivery to JEA. So we'll actually pay for the equipment when it's delivered. So that's what I have down based on the quoted lead time from the manufacturer. Actual installation date, I'll have to defer to the business as to when it would be installed.
This is Lori Whitmer. According to the detail we have on the project, I don't know exactly when in FY21, but the project will be ending in FY21.
Okay. It says that it looks like we're going to pay Lori for this fiscal year a little over $300,000. What would we be paying for in this fiscal year if it's not going to be delivered until April?
Yes, the cash flow they broke out was $308,000 this year and $572,000 next year. As the details of what's being invoiced, I don't know.
Rodney Lovegreen, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So, right, when you buy this kind of equipment, there's a significant investment the company makes in doing a casting and procuring long lead materials so they can manufacture. So we'll issue the purchase order. We'll pay for part of the pump in the schedules that's listed in the quotation, and then we'll pay the balance on delivery. So that's how the cash flow breaks out.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we just have a yes.
This is Sean Eads. Rodney, it's just something that strikes me as you said that with the current situation with the pandemic and various workforces being changed, do we have any, I guess, assurances about that delivery date, or do we have to think about that from our overall financial planning?
So, Rodney Lovegreen speaking. Whenever we order materials, there's a quoted lead time. On several of our contracts, we've been communicated to that there's going to be some lead time changes and increases, and really it's a one-on-one JEA to manufacturer relationship to make sure that we understand and know where the lead times are at. At this point in time, there's no indication of any lead time delays. However, should that happen, they would notify us, and we would obviously work through it and communicate to the financial group the potential impact. But there's just no crystal ball at this point in time that's going to tell us what will happen. But our terms and conditions on our purchase order and the terms and conditions in the contracts have provisions for changes and force majeure and things like that.
Okay, great. I'll just quickly summarize the reason we're doing this. So we have done many repairs over the years. This one is approximately 20 years old, and the cost to remove the pump and send it out for repair would cost nearly as much as buying a new one at this point. So we are moving forward with the purchase of a new one instead of repairing. There are different. There are other pumps out there that that could do the same. Could field the same results, but it's not designed to the parameters of NGS and our circulating water system. And so to undertake, or to bring in a new vendor, we'd have to undertake a system redesign effort, which could include the development of a new system design specification for pump manufacturer to design to, or the pump manufacturer would need to undergo an equipment design effort to design a pump that will fit into JEA's current design system, either of which would present risk to the supplier and JEA making neither cost-effective, timely, or in the best interest of JEA to go to anyone outside of the OEM. So I will open it up to further questions before we ask for a motion.
Joe Orfano.
Thanks, Sean. This is Joe Orfano. I had one more question directed at Rodney along the lines of Sean's initial question. That represents a 35% progress payment on the purchase. If there's a delay, I would assume a delay due to COVID-19 would delay our requirement to pay that 35%. Is that contractually correct?
I don't have the quote in front of me just at the moment. This is Rodney Lover speaking. To see what the items are for the progress payments. Again, I believe there's a smaller payment once we approve the design, and then there's an additional payment that has to do with the materials portion of it. So if for some reason we were to hold the project or they were to indicate that there was going to be a delay, then we would delay the payment of that additional portion. 10% with the issuance of the PO, 25% after they've issued out for the major casting. So if for some reason they get an indication from their supplier, which would be a castings supplier, that they're not able to produce and able to issue or book them in the system, then we would delay that additional payment until that time.
Thank you, Rodney. That makes perfect sense to me.
Great. All right. Can I get are there any other questions, Sean?
John McCarthy.
And this is just a quick question. Just curious if anyone knows how the 20 years compares to the the expected life of these type of pumps.
So this is Rodney Lover speaking. The actual equipment is older than that. The repairs to the unit, in a pump design, you have the volute, which is the major body of the pump, and then you have the internal assemblies and pieces and parts, the impellers, the shafts, seals, the wearing rings, and things of that nature. The pump body itself lasts typically for 30 plus years. These pumps themselves have been there for that long period of time. The actual repairs that have been done have been recurring over the last 20 plus years. And at this point in time, the amount of wear to the body of the pump itself is so great that the entire body of the pump, including all the internal replaceable wear parts, has to be replaced as well. So that's why we're doing a replacement. So 20 some years on pieces and parts, 30 years on overall life of the equipment, the whole pump itself. And at this point, it needs so much repair work that it would be out for months at a minimum to repair, or you could purchase a new one, which is what we're electing to do with some slight upgrades to the system.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I will ask for a motion to approve item 4.
Daryl Callahan, make a motion to approve, and while I'm open mic, someone else is not muted.
This is Sean Eads. I second. I think I know who that is. I'll work on it.
Great. All right, I'll go through and ask for individuals to vote and approve on the motion for award item number 4. We'll go with Sean Eads.
I approve.
Daryl Calhoun.
Approve.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
John McCarthy.
Approved.
And Gabor.
Approved.
Thank you. All right. So our last award item number 5. This is an invitation to negotiate, and we've noted that this is a standard for JEA, so HP is a standard here. This is for our new HP 3-PAR infrastructure refresh and replace equipment and support. CDW Government LLC is the recommended awardee in the amount of $610,789.26. This is a one-time purchase of the equipment with a 3-year maintenance support. JEA bid this out and received 3 responses. After the initial pricing was submitted, and it was much lower than what JEA was expecting, JEA decided during the BAFO to double the storage count, or double the storage drive count. So the changes you can see from the original amount to the BAFO, increased quite a bit, but the actual unit cost did not. The pricing was extremely good, and we were wanting to take advantage of that. The 3 that bid were all shortlisted and taken through the BAFO round and given an opportunity to adjust their pricing accordingly. There were heat maps given to them, and the price, we only evaluated on price. So all that being said, JEA has, we believe that we've received extremely good pricing here. We were able to support it with the current budget that we have, and IT has found the extra $10,000 that was not included in that line item to make this purchase. I will open it up for questions or comments.
There are none.
Great. I will ask for a motion to approve item number 5.
This is Sean Eads. I move to approve item 5.
Joe Arfano, second.
Thanks, Joe. All right, I will do a roll call through the committee for approval of the motion for item number 5. Sean Eads.
I approve.
Great. Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Daryl Calhoun.
Approved.
John McCarthy.
Approved.
And lastly, but certainly not least, Gabor, standing in for Karen Anders.
I approve.
Thank you. All right, so we have reviewed award items 1 through 5 individually. We've had individual motions and second to approve each of them individually. And I will, so the entire agenda has been approved for the April 23rd, 2020 agenda. Is there any other business to come before the awards committee? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. Have a great Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.